Alright, so I've got some results to give back to you with your trial HSC exam, and I've got to say I'm quite impressed with the level of improvement that's happened since our last exam. So what I've got prepared for us is a bit of a comparison with the mid-year exam as well as the trial that you've just completed. So you can see here with the multiple choice short and extended response, with the multiple choice, our average has improved, so we've gone up to 13 out of 20, and our range has also improved as well. So our highest mark there was a 17, which was fantastic. However, we still have a bit of room for improvement, so I still want us to work on that. Our short answer, I've got to say I was quite impressed with the level of improvement in our short answer. In our mid-year, it was out of 25, so I've put a percentage there to show the average, and the average has improved significantly, and I'm very happy with that. Okay, so we're looking at our average being above state average, which is good, and our range was good, so our highest being 37. I'll go through each of the questions after this, because it was little things that we were getting wrong that we can improve on. And our extended response, again, a massive improvement since our mid-year exams. So our highest being a 35 out of 40, whereas previously our highest was a 27. So our average has improved quite significantly as well. Again, room for improvement, but I'm happy that we have made some improvements. So looking at our class total, we're still below state average as a class. However, our range was a lot better. So our highest being 87 to 50 compared to 61 to 33. Remember last exam, our highest was a band 3. This time we've got a band 5, 2 band 4s, 2 band 3s, and 2 band 2s. Okay, again, this part here, there is room for improvement because there was 1 or 2 marks that cost you that band. Okay, so the band 2 students, there was 1 or 2 marks that could have got you into a band 3, and same goes to the band 3 students. There was a few marks that could have got you into that band 4. And it's really important that we understand the difference that a few marks can make in regards to your overall results. Now with class ranks and overall class assessment, that'll be available to you on your report, so you will receive that in the next few weeks. You'll have all the details of everything that you've done, and then your final HSC mark from the school. So overview, a better performance than last examination, so again I'm quite happy. Our average is still below state average though of 75%, and that's something that we need to improve on. There's been a huge improvement in the short answer, so that's been our greatest strength there, but we still need to work on multiple choice and extended responses. I'll leave that there for a second because what I want to do is go through the actual exam paper with you. I'll go through each of the questions. What I want you to check as well is that I've marked them correctly, so especially the multiple choice, and make sure that your short answers, the marks all add up to a mark out of 40. So this might take a little time, but I want us to spend some time going through this just as I would have gone through them in a classroom. Okay, so with multiple choice, when we're looking at latitude, okay, we're referring to the source booklet there. So it tells you which source to go to and which area as well. So because the source was in Australia, okay, obviously we cannot eliminate the norths out there, okay? So we've got a process of elimination, so it's either A or C, and the correct answer was A. On the 27th of the 11th 14, which of the following locations in the Kimberley region of Western Australia was forecast to have the greatest amount of rainfall? Again, it's about reading the key on the map and understanding what that key means. And the answer for that one was C, Halls Creek. Question 3, what type of photograph is source E Okay, again, we spent some time going through the different, well, we didn't spend a lot of time on it, but I showed you a few examples of different sources of photographs. And for 3, the answer was a B. Okay, oblique always has to be on an angle. Okay, referring to source D now, what is the density of buildings in area reference 6764? Okay, for the question 4, the answer was B, 6 buildings per kilometre square. What is the aspect of the slope in area reference 7860? For question 5, the answer was D, northwest. What is the average gradient from spot height 107 to spot height 92? So for question 6, the answer was D. What is the general direction of flow from the Ord River? For question 7, the answer was A. What landform feature is located at grid reference 74.5, 65.8? The answer for question 8 was C. Again, it's about looking at the key and understanding what the key is. So this is looking at 2 sources now, so refer to sources D and E to answer question 9. So in which area reference are the buildings in source E found? So it's a comparison between 2 images there. For number 9, the answer is D. Refer to source G to answer questions 10 and 11. What is the most likely reason for the percentage of people aged 10 to 14 in the Kununurra statistical area in 2012? So why is there that particular number in that age group? So for question 10, the answer is C. Okay, they have moved to other areas to seek educational opportunities. So that means reading through the stimulus booklet to gain that information. So I believe stimulus is here. It's about understanding the different the different areas about that, and looking at the best possible answer. Okay, if 8,490 people lived in Kununurra statistical area in 2012, approximately how many people were aged between 15 and 19? Again, it's about working out the percentage. So you're looking at both male and female for question 11, because it hasn't specified which age group. So for question 11, the answer was C. Because we're looking at how many people, so we can knock out the statistics and go straight to the answer. You hadn't asked for a statistical response. Okay, you've got the source there in front of you. We're looking at what type of map is source L, and for that question, the answer is B. I know we didn't spend a lot of time on this, but in your booklet that I handed out to you with all the skills in it, there was an example of that. So referring to source H, let's look at questions 13 and 14. What is the distance between Halls Creek and Kununurra via the Great Northern and Victoria Highways? Question 13, the answer was C. What location has a bearing of 180 from Kununurra? Okay, so again, it's asking you to do it in reverse, so work out what is 180 degrees from Kununurra, and the answer for 14 is A. Question 15, which of the following reasons does source I best represent as a need for the protection and management of ecosystems? For question 15, it is B, heritage value. So looking at what source I is, it is a national park. It's dominated by beehive-shaped domes. It's a cultural significance to the local Aboriginal population. Okay, so there's that cultural significance there. So out of the possible answers, it's the heritage value that is the most correct one there. For question 16, the photograph was taken at sunset What direction was the photographer facing? For question 16, the answer was C. He was facing east. Source K is an example of D, management strategies. So if we have a look at what source K was, it is visitor information of how to behave and act and be in the park, basically. Okay, question 18. So we've got a source there for us as well. And we're looking at place of usual residence for Western Australian Indigenous population by Indigenous region. So which region had the smallest proportion of its total population comprised of Indigenous people? So we're looking at the smallest proportion of its population comprised of Indigenous people. And the answer for that one is A, Perth. And again, it's looking at the percentage there. Which urban dynamic of change is best defined as distinctive residential districts comprising of clustering people with a common culture and forming an identifiable community? The answer for 19 is D, urban village. And question 20. Refer to sources A, C, D, and H. And what is the correct order of the smallest scale to the largest scale of sources? Remember, the largest scale is showing more detail, and the smallest scale is showing, sorry, I got that wrong. The largest scale is showing less detail, and the smallest scale is showing more detail. So the answer for question 20 is D. Alright, so looking at the short answers here. So this question 21 A and B, was answered quite well. You were able to identify a geographical issue, and all of you did that quite well, and you gave me area references and location to for that particular issue. So that was an easy 2 marks to get. Also, you were able to design a research question based on that issue identified in part A. So a majority of you did that well and got 3 out of 3 for that, for A and B there. Some of you got a bit stuck on this question. So propose a hypothesis that could be tested in relation to the research question stated in part B. So you've given you've identified an issue here. Your hypothesis is what you think the answer would be, what you think the solution is. Okay, so it's not another question, or it's not a type of question that you should be asking. It is what you think the solution is to the area or to the issue that's there. Then you had to identify 2 methods or methodologies in your research. So identifying the methods was 1 point each, or 1 mark each, and then your justification were 2 marks each. Now, a lot of you identified them really, really well, but your justification was a bit poor. So some of you said interviewing council workers. Your justification, so you get an insight into the area. Yeah, it is a justification, but what type of questions would you be asking them? You have to give a little bit more detail to add more of a justification to your research. And then our economic enterprise. Okay, so we all spoke about our economic enterprise. We all identified the one that we researched, which was fantastic. And then the account for the location of the economic enterprise. So it was about giving a variety of reasons why that enterprise is located where it is and why people go there and visit. So you're looking at a deep knowledge or a deep understanding of the relationship between the variety of locational factors and the location of that economic enterprise. So the majority of you did that question really well, but there was some that missed out on a few marks here because you told me where it was, but you didn't make that link to the location and to the enterprise. So why is it there? This question we struggled with a little bit. So you had to examine the external linkages of the economic enterprise identified. So you had to inquire into those external linkages. So what connects your enterprise to the rest of the world, basically, and how it impacts on your enterprise. So you had to clearly inquire into a variety of external linkages, and you had to demonstrate a deep understanding of the relevance between that link and your enterprise. Okay, so that was 6 marks there. So I'm looking for 2 or 3 points about, or 2 or 3 links that is connected to your enterprise. Okay, question 23. We're looking at the biophysical interactions which lead to diverse ecosystems and their functioning. Now we're looking at the biophysical interactions, so how the biosphere interacts to create a diverse ecosystem and how it functions, how it maintains it functioning. So what you need to do here is provide detailed information about the features and characteristics of a variety of biophysical interactions. So if you spoke about the Great Barrier Reef, you need to speak about the atmosphere, you need to speak about the hydrosphere, you need to speak about the lithosphere, how they work together, and how it leads to the Great Barrier Reef being a diverse ecosystem and how it functions. So the coral reefs need the heat from they need the solar energy to heat the water in order for their ecosystem, for their habitat to maintain their survival. Okay, similar with the coastal dunes. You need wind, you need wave in order for you to build those those dunes. However, how does it function there? So then you also need the plant system to, in the foredunes to stabilize the dune system. So you needed to provide details about the features and characteristics of the biophysical interactions which lead to your ecosystem. You need to refer to diversity of ecosystems. So how is it different? You need to accurately describe the functioning of ecosystems, such as energy flows, nutrient recycling of a variety of ecosystems. You have to use some examples to support your answer as well. So some of you wrote great information about biophysical interactions, but had no examples to support your answer. Then you had to describe one contemporary strategy used to protect an ecosystem at risk. Again, what some of you did is you did describe that contemporary strategy, but you did not use an example. You always must supply examples to support your answer. Now, there are detailed comments written all over your exams that will help you in areas that you missed out some marks. So again, it could be any type of contemporary example. However, you must support that with an actual ecosystem at risk. So a lot of you spoke about, using signs, walkways, paths. That's fantastic, but you didn't link it back. Okay, question 24. So account for the changing role of regional centres and the demise of small towns. So again, there's 2 areas here that you need to cover. So you're stating reasons for, or stating reasons why there's a change in the role of regional centres and the demise of small towns. So some of you only spoke about regional centres and didn't mention the demise of the small towns. So what you needed to do here was provide accurate and detailed reasons for the changing role of regional centres and provide accurate and detailed reasons for the demise of small towns. Okay, they are linked together, but you had to say that in your answer. You need to use at least one detailed case study of a regional centre and a small town that's gone through that change. And it needs to be presented in a sustained, logical and well-structured way. Any question that's worth 6 or more marks needs to have some structure to it. So identify a challenge of living in a megacity of the developing world. Okay, some of you identified a few challenges, just one, that's all you needed to do. And then you need to describe one response to that challenge. So what is being done in response to that? So you have to demonstrate a deep knowledge and understanding of one response to a challenge of the megacity from the developed world. And you have to provide characteristics and features of that response. So if you've identified sanitation, water quality, housing, spatial inequality as your challenges, you need to provide details or characteristics and features of that response to that challenge, okay? And again, use an example to support your answer. Alright, our extended responses here. Now I feel that I've given you enough detail on your actual exam to go through that. But if you still have any more questions, just email me personally and I'm happy to go through that with you bit by bit, because I'll have your exams here anyway. What I do want to draw your attention to is what basically your marking criteria is made up of is these 4 dot points here. And I've mentioned this to you before, but I want you to know that in order to answer these questions well, so any 2 that you've chosen to do, you need to demonstrate geographical knowledge and understanding relevant to the question, okay? There were some students that wrote everything that they knew about, say for example, ecosystems at risk. They spoke about everything that they knew, but it wasn't answering the question, okay? This key point here is it has to be relevant to the question. You need to communicate ideas and information using geographical terms and concepts appropriately. Use the key terminology, okay, and use it in the correct form. So if you're not unsure of the word or you don't know what it means, don't use it. Refer to case studies, illustrative examples, and the stimulus booklet where appropriate. Now you don't always have to reference the stimulus booklet, but if you find something in there that might help you with your answer, use it. However, case studies and illustrative examples you must use. Okay, there were some people that were lacking that. And then you need to present a sustained, logical, and cohesive response. So it needs to be put in a structured order. You can't just be jumping all over the place. Okay, it can't be in point form or anything like that. You can use subheadings, and a lot of you did that and did that well. However, it needs to be sustained, logical, and cohesive. Alright, I'll go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so where to from here? Alright, so we've got a few more weeks left to the end of this term, and like I've told you, my last week here is week 8, but I'll still be available on emails. So areas that I want to address with you. So what are the areas that you're confident in? What are the areas we need to work on? And what skills do we want to work on? So I've got a sheet for us to fill in, that you just fill in areas, in particular areas that we want to work on, and then I can plan accordingly to your needs, okay? And if there's certain skills that you want to work on, put them in these suggestion boxes here, and then I can work to your needs. Again, please double check your marks, double check that everything adds up correctly, that I haven't miscalculated anything, and then we're able to go from there. Again, if there's any questions or any concerns with anything, please feel free to contact me or to email me.